have here. I have redacted some important information on there that includes my complete name.
Video ni Deen Chase na nagtataka siya bakit nandito daw si Liza sa Pinas. Samantalang may kaso naman daw ito sa LA. Nag-update po ito si Deen Chase dati nang sabi niya, ito daw si Liza ngayon ay naka-interim release. So, hindi ko na patatagalin ito. Ito, sabayan niyo po akong manood.
Mayong adlaw ka natong tanan, and it is currently exactly 7:55 here in the city of San Francisco. And nami diri karon sa balay sa kumbana. We were supposed to celebrate my birthday and witness the Pride Parade, but we had a heart-to-heart conversation. I think it's time for you guys to know. Today I'm going to read to you guys very important excerpts or portions from the document that I have received from the police department's archives. If you remember, if you have been following me, I was one of the few who've been provided the original document with the complete accounts on what had happened on the 8th of March, on a Saturday, when Paulo Tantoco died. So yeah, I really don't know what's going to happen to me after this, but my husband and I had already talked about it. I will be going into a complete incognito mode. I have already changed my number. And we have already talked about the possibility on moving to a different state, because right now we have already moved to a completely different city. But we will definitely be moving to a different state. We will be doing that because I really do believe that you guys do deserve to know what happened. So yeah, here it goes. So if you have been following me, you should know by now that I have received a couple of documents from the archives dito sa police department katong nahitabo dito sa Pizza Utso sa Marso katong namatay si Paulo Tantoco. First document is the complete account of what had happened there. Hinatag siya mismo sa akong kanang kliyente. Nagkatabaho gid mismo dito sa archives. That was a couple of days after that incident. And then the second document is katong naglibog ko anong gisendan ko nila. Pizza 5 man to sa Abril siguro. Basta nakadawat ko first week of April nga nakadawat ko kanang document stating na dili ko na sila hatag og any information about what had happened there. Apparently, it's because it is now considered as a high-profile case. Motong hinungdan nganong ni refrain na sila from providing any information as to what had happened there. Because if you can remember, atong pag Pizza 2 sa Abril, first week of April basically, na ini-visit nila dito sa police department, and then the case had been superseded on the first week of April, and moto nakadawat ko document sa Pizza 5 via email. Nga ako silang gitawagan confirming what is happening, ang anong gisendan mo ko ninyo na katong na makistorya na gid unta ko sa akong contact. Pero luckily I was able to talk to my contact person, and then the person basically just explained to me what had happened on that day, on the first week of April. And the second or the third document kanong ako nadawat is the only allowed information that they can provide, because after all, this is America. There is the Freedom of Information Act. Basically, if there's any information that concerns public safety, it will be provided. Kay freedom of information, there is really big man in America. You can actually have that information by request as long as you are able to pay a hefty amount of money. And oh, by the way, you guys, before I go through the important information in the documents that I have here in my possession, let me just remind you guys that the information that I will be divulging in this video is very explicit, and I will only be reading information that is only allowed of me to divulge, because after all, this is still an ongoing case. It's still under investigation, and whatever information that I will be putting out in public may make or break the case. And I really don't want to ruin the ongoing investigation, because this is now considered as a high-profile case, and I really don't know what will happen to me after I go through these documents. But it is what it is. I have already made up my mind, and I will be reading it to you guys. So let me go through the first document that I have here. This is actually the last document that I have received from the archives from that police department. And I believe this is the same document that Maharlika has in her possession. And this document has some accounts of what had happened over there, but it is not complete because after all, as what I've said earlier, the case is still under investigation. So this is what I have here. I have redacted some important information on there that includes my complete name, my legal name here in the United States, and my address. So I think this is what Maharlika has in her possession. So let me read that to you real quick. This letter is in response to your request, the request under California Public Records Act, the act in which you seek a copy of Police Report 2005-000-11805, the electronic request made to the Beverly Hills Police Department, BHPD, on blah, blah, blah. The BHPD has determined that the request in part seeks copies of disclosable public records in the BHPD's possession. So under that, if you are going to check on here, it has the description of the crime. It is actually considered as a death investigation and a crime. So it says here also, reported date, March 8, 2025, at around 11:32 a.m. Time of the incident, March 8, 2025, 11:32 a.m. Victim age, Juan Paulo Tantoco, 44. Summary of the incident. On Saturday, March 8, 2025, at approximately 11:30 hours, officers were dispatched to the Beverly Hilton Hotel regarding a person not breathing. Officers entered the room and observed hotel security performing chest compressions on an unconscious male subject. Officer took over with life-saving measures and subject was pronounced deceased at 12:05 hours by the paramedics. So I believe this is the same document that they are sending out to everyone if ever mangayo ka ng document ba kay manghatag mo gina sila, public records mo gina siya. So mo rin ang allowed nila nga pwede nila mahatag sa public, no? Very vague. It does not have complete accounts on whatever happened on that fateful day on the 8th of March. And the second document that I have here, let me just read that on my computer. It's right here. This one, I received this on the 5th of April. Let me read it to you real quick. Basically, gist aning a document is that they are not going to divulge any information. I believe this was after those Asian-looking men visited the Police and Archive Department on the 2nd of April. So basically, first week of April, nang limpyo gid sila nga mga sayop nga nabuhat atong kuan ba sa Archives Department. So money, the second document, and we go to the first document. The document that I have received from my client. So guys, ako lang yung basahon ninyo, no? But throughout me reading this document, I will be redacting some information as well, very important names, and some people that I will be protecting because I do believe that they have nothing to do with the case. However, since their names are here, I will be reading them, but I will be redacting them when I edit the video, okay? Alright, so let me just go through the document that I have received from my client who works at the Archives Department. Okay, Beverly Hills Police Department, Crime and Incident Report, report number BHPD 2025-0308-0911, type of report, death investigation, date and time reported March 8, 2025, 11:30 hours, date, time of incident, March 8, 2025, approximately 0430 hours to 1130 hours. Location of incident, Beverly Hilton Hotel. It has a complete address as to which, where it happened. The name of the victim, which is Juan Paulo Tantoco, male, age 44, date of birth is redacted. Reporting officer, narrative summary. On Saturday, March 8, 2025, at approximately 1130 hours, BHPD dispatch received a 911 call reporting an unresponsive male individual located in room number at the Beverly Hilton Hotel were dispatched to the location and arrived on the scene at 11:38 hours. Upon entry to the unit, responding officers observed a hotel security performing chest compressions on an unconscious male subject, later identified via identification cards as Juan Paulo Tantoco, date of birth redacted, age 44. Officer took over administering CPR until Beverly Hills Fire Department BHFD paramedics arrived on scene at approximately 11:45 hours. BHFD personnel assumed life-saving efforts. However, after approximately 20 minutes of advanced cardiac life support, ACLS measures, the subject was pronounced deceased on scene at 12:05 hours. Notification was made to the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office, who took custody of the body for examination. Now we go to the witness statements. Date of birth redacted. Stated that she and other associates, including and the decedent, had dinner at the Waldorf Astoria on the evening of March 7, 2025. She observed Mr. Tantoco exhibiting signs of distress, including profuse sweating, incoherent speech, and visible disorientation. She recalled inquiring whether he required medical assistance, but Liza Marcos reportedly downplayed the symptoms and suggested that Mr. Tantoco return to his hotel room to rest. So there are so many statements here from different witnesses, but I'm just going to read a couple of statements from very important people that I believe has something to do with the case. So the second statement from the witness that I'm going to read is from date of birth is redacted. Mr. corroborated the timeline provided by Mrs. He stated that he and Mrs. Marcos escorted Mr. Tantoco back to room at the Beverly Hilton 2235 hours. A continuation of the gathering occurred in the penthouse until approximately 0100 hours on March 8, 2025 on a Saturday, the next day, when some guests departed. Third statement from a witness is from date of birth is redacted. Mr. remained at the party in room 5 along with Mrs. Marcos and Mrs. He reported that between 0445 and 0515 hours, Mr. Tantoco began convulsing. He confirmed that Mr. suggested calling emergency services but was reportedly discouraged by Mrs. Marcos, who stated that the behavior was a typical reaction to excessive recreational substance use. Fourth statement from a witness is from Mr. Alfred. Date of birth is redacted. Mr. emphasized his concern for the victim's deteriorating condition. He noted that Mr. Tantoco's convulsions appeared intermittent and diminished over the next few hours. But at around 1100 hours, he noticed the subject was completely unresponsive, and at that point, he made a phone call to the hotel front desk, prompting the emergency response. Okay, I'm going through the crime scene observations. This is from the first responders who came to the crime scene. And I'm sorry if I keep cutting off the video because I just want to go through, the pages before I actually read them to you because it takes a while. Sige, sundan na nato, no? On the crime scene observations, upon initial examination, the scene was contained to room. The living area had evidence of ongoing party activity, notably on the coffee table, were observed. One clear plastic bag containing a white powdery substance, preliminary field tests still pending. 3 used syringes containing residue suspected to be narcotics. Several open and unopened bottles of alcohol. A mirror of powder residue and rolled up bills. No evidence of forced entry, struggle, or foul play apparent at the scene. Photographic documentation of the scene was conducted by Forensic Unit Officer C, and all physical evidence was collected, labeled, and submitted to the BHPD evidence room under chain of custody protocol. Now we're going to the investigation status. Let me go through here. The case remains as a death investigation pending toxicology and autopsy results from the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office. At this time, the following individuals have been listed as persons of interest and are subject to ongoing questioning. So it has so many names on there that are listed, but one name stands out, which is Liza Marcos. That's what it says here. Now, below that, it says travel restrictions have been requested through the California Office of the Attorney General for the above individuals as precautionary measures until further clarification can be made regarding the events leading to Mr. Tantoco's death. Now, we're going down to the very bottom part of the document. It says here, supervisory review. The circumstances surrounding the delay in seeking medical assistance have been noted and may constitute contributory negligence pending legal consultation. The presence of controlled substances at the scene and the statements provided by the party attendees warrant further inquiry into possible involuntary manslaughter, drug distribution, or obstruction of emergency care. A follow-up report will be submitted upon receipt of autopsy findings. The case is assigned to Detective Homicide Division, badge number. So, mo na to, no? Ako na dyan nabasa ninyo ang mga importante nga parts sa document nga akong na-receive. But you really don't need to worry because the entirety of the document had already been forwarded to the people, the person that would need it the most in the future. As a matter of fact, I really do believe that the information that I have just read to you guys are the information that needs to be known to public, especially to the Filipino people, because the Filipino people deserve better.